It's the day after the Magic Mansion haunted house. I'm out in the front yard, and this is the aftermath, so to speak, and the only video haunted house tour I was able to capture. This is where you bought your ticket. This is the driveway. Our burn barrel was positioned in the middle, and this is where folks gathered. Polar Bear was not sitting in the driveway. This is where you picked up your 3D glasses, our Circus of Fear sign, the giant clown, where you have to enter through the crotch. This is a 3D haunted house, so all of this pops out and screams at you. We had some cool lighting down here on the ground, along the entryway. Come around this dark corner. This is where Rob would tell you the story of Bubbles the monkey that would jump out and scare you. Bubbles the monkey bit all the clowns and it turned them insane. That's why the clowns are all nutty. Got the Sharon's doll back out. This is all illuminated with little tiny spots and little chemical lights. This is one of the places I hung out and haunted as a satanic clown, since we had the rack here. Here's one of our many little spots where you can see who's coming, make a little noise, get a little crazy. Got Dora the Explorer hanging here and some spider webs, the occasional skulls, some random lighting, a chair, just a chair. It worked really well, actually. Coming around this corner, we have this stuff hanging that will touch you when you try to duck underneath this tree and kind of creep with you a little bit. We frequently had somebody around this corner hanging out to scare you. We had this awesome portable wall so that one of our actors could basically become a wall and walk around with it. There's the other side of that grate that we saw underneath the deck. We had a little room going on. Most everything's gone now, but we had this little satanic offering sitting here next to the eyeballs. Over here was one of our music stations before the polka dot room. This was a little crawl space for our actors to sneak around. In here is the polka dot room, where we had somebody wearing an outfit with nothing but black and polka dots, so you couldn't see them no matter how hard you tried until they started to move. This was all blacklight reactive, of course, as is most of the haunt. Yet another corner. This is another actor entryway. We poke our head out here. You can see this is the deck, but only actors came through there. Everyone else came through here. With the 3D glasses, this set of stairs actually looked like it had depth. We actually had people trip and fall, thinking that there were steps there, and there weren't. This was the spinning wheel. It was originally on a motor, but the drive shaft shredded, so the actors would just come by and spin it by hand when somebody would come through. Still worked out really well. Admit one very, very creepy 3D creature. That one turned out really scary. And here you'll see me walking up with the camera. One of the many mirrors we placed around. We've got a freezer chest with a leg hanging out. And this was a favorite spot for some of the actors, because you could just chill in here and lift up the lid every once in a while and scare the crap out of people when you heard them coming. Down this hallway we had 3 very bright lights shining straight at you when you were walking on. So when a scary actor would come walking up through the lights at you, they just kind of really looked extra terrifying. We had an actor positioned on the other side of these crates. It was really hard to see because, first of all, your eyes had adjusted for all the light that was at you, and this was dark. And they'd come up here and they'd shake the wood a little bit and jump at you and reach through. This is the way you're supposed to go. It says, beware of Bubbles. Bubbles is the monkey. Here on the left we had a false door, but Rob walked through the false door last night, jokingly, because so many people walked into the false door. And after dozens and dozens of attendees smacked into the door, Rob smacked it and it shattered. It's plexiglass, so it's not that big of a deal, but it was pretty funny that he was the one who finally managed to break it. And it's his plexiglass. Here we start getting into some of the murals that we created. These are all, meant for the 3D effect. That's why they have the particular color patterns that they have, to make them jump out and seem particularly awesome. We splatter painted all the walls. The wind blew really hard, knocked off a bunch of paint chips. So we've got these random paint chips all around the ground that are blacklight reactive, which really added to the effect. We have the lion and the lion's mouth. You actually have to go through the lion's mouth. And on the other side of the mouth, we put it on a mattress to kind of give you a weird feel. And there's his tonsils. And then you end up in this room. Inside the lion's mouth, you go through yet another door with some more murals. This is one of my favorite clowns here. He's got his balloon and his little flower but his coloring, his teeth, the way his teeth popped out 3D was really fantastic. He looked really good. And this clown's not too shabby. We call him Jazz Hands. He's alright. And then through this door is where that would have gone if it hadn't been a false door. This is a poster that our friend Willis made that turned out to be exceptionally neat under the 3D glasses. It doesn't really follow the patterns that we were using to do the 3D, but it turned out doing some really bizarre and interesting things. There's another one of them. And you know, we got stuff like this with the snake and some skulls and stuff, you know, hanging around in random places. Some more, it says help, random words on the walls. Another pretty decent clown. This one I liked a lot. Again, this one's teeth were pretty awesome, as were his eyes. This guy, he just turned out really evil. I mean, he was just a evil looking clown. And this one was particularly psycho looking. And this corner was exceptionally neat. We had a good solid black light going on in here, and this paint, the different colored paints in the corner jumped off enough, maybe because it's a corner, that if an actor stood here in this corner, they kind of looked like they were in the walls and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty neat too. Another mirror coming around this corner. And now we get down to the last of the really awesome 3D murals, including the bearded lady here. This is where it's getting a little bit more randomly circusy. And these chains, we found this. Oh, look at that. Somebody operate the chains. Sweet. And you come around the corner up here and you've got Horace the elephant who farts. And into the door maze. Of course, if you don't realize that you're supposed to go through the door maze, you might come around this corner, which is the actor that we mentioned a minute ago when we were on the other side of this wall, who will jump out and terrify you. But once you try to, you know, jack with the doors, you'll eventually figure out that you're supposed to go in. They all have random numbers written on them. Come through the screen door. Creepy random outside room with a tree. Usually had a couple of actors in here. Actually, usually it was these two girls that were really creepy. Got us a spider in the tree. Come back in here. You've been warned. We had a fella in here with these unusually long arms, and it was his costume that had these creepy fingers, and you couldn't see him until he reached up into the light with his creepy hands, and it was fantastic. Here we have more door maze. This reflective looking glass was actually not entirely reflective. You could see through it kind of when it wasn't something dark on the other side, so we'd have an actor jump up and pop up in that glass. Scare you. It's a lot of ones. And then you finally make it out and you're out here. This was our ball toss. As you can see, it's kind of set up to look like you know, the balls are actually suspended in time. This one's been knocked down by that ball and their color painted to kind of give you more of a depth effect with the 3D glasses, and that one over there is standing still. Got a couple of prizes hanging. We'd have several actors out here. One of them would hide behind this marionette and operate the marionette from behind that piece of black plastic. They were pretty well hidden. We had problems with the hula hoops because all the burners would come through here and find the hula hoops, and then they'd start hula hooping instead of going through the haunted house. And here, around the next corner, is the giant spider's nest, which is a parachute. All of this blacklight reactive webbing. We had blacklight set up back here. And then we have the infamous spider. He had blinky lights in the eyes. Turned out pretty awesome. We're almost near the end now. This structure at one point in time wasn't collapsed, and that point in time was yesterday. We had rain last night, brought it down a bit. But as the grand finale, inside of this room, we had lasers, we had strobes, we had smoke effects, we had all kinds of crazy stuff going on. A lot of water, that's very, very heavy. Let's see if we can get through here. Right. So, sorry about that. Here's our monkey cage. This is where Bubbles would hang out, and sometimes you couldn't see Bubbles when you came in, and Bubbles would wait to scare you. Other times Bubbles would chase you quite a bit, and you'd come through here where it wasn't collapsed, And this would be the end. Hooray! And then you survived Circus of Fear. You'd walk back down to the driveway, turn in your 3D glasses, and go on and on about what an incredible, amazing experience you just had.